Bonjour, Émilie Talpin, OM System Ambassador in the US. Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to give you 3 tips to improve your photography and get sharper images. So let's get started. Yes, sure. Having a great professional lens is going to help you, but it's not about getting the best lens. It's really about having the proper technique and realizing the mistakes you're making. That is really what will help you get sharper image. So my first tip number 1 to get better, to get sharper images is check your shutter speed. Shutter speed is usually the main issue why your photos are not sharp. Let's take an example. That's a photo I took a few days ago. Here, my shutter speed is at 1/800 of a second, and for this little chickadee, this is not working out. If the chickadee is standing, not doing anything, it's perched, then that's fine. But if the chickadee is flying, this is not gonna cut it because my wings are gonna be blurry. My shot is gonna be blurry because there is movement and my shutter speed is not set up high enough for my camera to blur my main subject. So before you start blaming your lens, check your shutter speed, increase your shutter speed. That is really my main advice to you. Shutter speed needs to be higher most of the time. And this will also vary on the type of birds that you are shooting. A heron is a little slower, way slower actually, than a hummingbird. So you are not going to use the same shutter speed for those two birds. But anyhow, just use the higher shutter speed that you can in the situation you are in. And I promise you, this will improve your images and you will get sharper images and better results. Tip number 2, maybe your image is not sharp because you do not have the right aperture. Right? If you are shooting far away, then you can maybe get an aperture that is f4.5. That's fine. But if you are shooting a bird that's very close to you, you're very close to your subject, and that will not cut it. You will need to have an aperture that's going to be f.8 or maybe even higher. So you need to pay attention to the size of your subject and your distance relative to your subject. This will improve your image because in some situation, if your aperture is not big enough, if it's a f4.5, then maybe you only get the head of your bird in focus, but not the back. So be careful with your aperture. Tip number 3, you need to have a good technique as a wildlife photographer. If you have a good technique, this will improve the sharpness of your images. I am not kidding you. I've seen people in the field who are trying to focus using their LCD screen for birds in flight. It's not gonna work. You want to be as stable as possible. And if you are not using a tripod, most of the time I'm not using a tripod when I'm doing birds in flight or wildlife, you need to make sure that you're using yourself as a tripod, meaning you need 3 points of contact, which are your 2 hands. They need to be holding this camera and this lens, right? You need to keep your hands closer to your body. Don't shoot like this. And also, you need to use your head. That's right. You need to press your camera right here so you have 3 points of contact. 1, 2, and 3. That is basically you being a human tripod. And I promise you, if you have a good technique, that will also help you increase the sharpness of your image. And my bonus tip, it's a mistake I've seen a lot of people do. I've done it and I can't believe it's happening. Sometimes I'm starting to take a photo and I know my photo is not sharp. What's happening? It's because when I was driving or when I was doing something with my lens, I bump the stabilization button. So if you have a lens with a stabilization button on, you want to make sure that it is on. So always check before you start shooting that you didn't disable the stabilization on your lens. Now, those are 3 simple tips that I promise you, if you follow them, your photography, your sharpness of your image is gonna be better, is gonna improve. So let me know in the comment if you have other tips to improve the sharpness of your images. I think that would be a great discussion for this week, and I want to thank you again for all your support. If you are not a subscriber, well, it's never too late. Click on the subscribe button, hit the bell so you know when my videos are coming out, and I will see you next weekend. Until then, happy shooting. Au revoir.